Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be focused on the hardest characters to play in Garden Warfare 2. And what do I mean by that? I mean not how hard it is to upgrade the character, but how hard it is to play them at max potential, max level. So just because a character isn't good doesn't mean they're hard to play, it just means they're not very good. By hard to play, I mean like how I'm using Painter right now. The way Painter works is very strange. He can't really shoot in a straight line. Aiming with him is very odd, and the reticle is just very off. His projectiles are affected by movement, making him aim completely different than every other character in the game. Well, other than one character we'll get into a little bit later. When using the jackhammer, this is very difficult to use, but Painter is one of the most rewarding characters in the game, just because his primary does so much damage, and it's very good from all ranges. Once you get past the part that it's very hard to aim with, you're good to go. And if you're standing still, it's pretty easy to shoot with as well, because you're not moving. But if you're playing at max level, and you're on the move at all times, Painter is definitely one of the hardest characters in the game to play. If you guys are enjoying, please subscribe, it'll really mean a lot. Moving on, the next character is Rockpea. Rockpea actually has the same exact issue as the Painter with the movement affected projectiles. In fact, I think that it's harder for Rockpea. Just because Rockpea is a more mobile character, so you have to aim him a certain way. Now, the thing is, with the peashooters, of course, you're going to be jumping a whole lot, as that's the whole point of the character. And if you can learn to use the projectile, this character is very, very powerful. And some other attributes of the character, some fun facts, is he does more splash damage than regular peashooter, so that's pretty cool. But his projectile is just a really high skill ceiling, and it is definitely something that you have to take time to learn to play. But once you do, really, really good character, very, very, very broken. Speaking of which, the next character is Electro Citron. I would argue that this is the most difficult character in the entire game, and there's many reasons for that. One is Citrons in general, it's kind of weird being able to position with them. I see a lot of people rush in, and a lot of people stay far away, which both of them aren't good strategies. The good strategy is to be like where I am right now, around mid-range. Let's say there's a zombie right where I'm shooting, right here. That's a perfect place to play Citron. But combining that with your movement, being able to go around the map and use the charge shots, gives you a really powerful character. Now when playing this character, it's really useful to use the sound cues, seeing how much the primaries charge. Usually it's pretty good to use this charge right here. Right here, like that. Charge it for a little bit, wait for that sound cue. Now if you're approaching someone, always approach with a full charge. Go a full charge, and then you could do like 2 charges like that. Don't use the uncharged shots, they are horrible and useless. So speaking of his primary though, the projectiles are very tiny, meaning that you have to be very precise with them. A character like Iron Citron, its projectiles are humongous. E-Citron's projectiles are very tiny, so sometimes they just don't work if you're not accurate with them, but if you are, his character's broken. But this character, if you can play him, he is absolutely absurd. He's my favorite Citron just because I love how high the skill ceiling is with him, and it's very rewarding if you're a powerful E-Citron player. But this is the most challenging character to play easily in the entire game, by far. Let's move on to some zombies. The first one I want to talk about is basically the entire Brainz class, but the only reason I'm going to be talking about them is just because of the toggle aim. Toggle aim is a weird tech because you have to enable it in the settings, and then you can't use your beam in the air. You have to start using it on the ground, and then you could jump. So you're still restricted with your movement, but you could get people over corners. Now this gets really strong whenever you can jump right as you jump kick, then you could utilize it, and it basically makes all the super Brainzes much more powerful than usual. Usually they do struggle quite a bit with coverage with approaching, but like let's say there's a Gatling, you could just go like that. If there's someone hiding behind a corner, you could jump up and shoot them. For example, if there's a Citron using its shield, you could jump over it and shoot over the shield. Usually with punches, that's very hard to approach, and then you're also not a sitting duck when you are using your beam on the ground just like this. So it gives you some of that mobility and pressure that the character normally can't have, which is a very good thing to have for all the superheroes. It's definitely most effective with Electro Brainz because his beam is just very powerful. The next character is actually going to be another engineer, and it is Landscaper. So the reason why Landscaper is a difficult character is kind of similar to Painter. It's his projectiles. His projectiles unfortunately suffer from an issue with the range cap. As you can see, they're exploding midair, so they're not even reaching the purple dino over there. So that means if there's someone very far away, I'm not even able to shoot them with this character. So the positioning with this character is pretty difficult. Now, the reason why the character is difficult though is because if you do manage to hit the shots with him, he is extremely powerful. So if there's someone jumping through the air, very, very strong. His projectiles just work very differently. And if you could really get used to the angle they shoot at and the positioning of the character, very strong character. Definitely not as hard as any of the other characters I've listed so far, but I thought I would mention him because Landscaper is, at high level, is more challenging to play than most of the cast. Alright, so the next character is going to be the Tank Commander. Now, the reason Tank Commander is difficult is because you just have to make sure you're hitting the shots. If you do hit every shot with him, amazing, very, very good, but if he has little room for error, because if you hit that shot, that's your only amount of pressure. Like, yeah, you can throw a stink cloud or you can use a CPG, but you're going to want to be able to use your primary, of course. Every other soldier can pretty much shoot at all times. Maybe Scuba can't, but he could still shoot twice. Tank Commander, if you miss, you're going to have to reload. So you have to make sure you're hitting your shots, and you do. Very powerful, but if there's someone in the air, kind of difficult to track them. Again, at high level, there's going to be a lot of people going through the air. You're not just going to be jumping around here. There's going to be people through the air. You want to be hitting all shots. When I say high level, I mean at absolute perfection levels of play. Definitely a harder one to use. Alright, the last character is going to be Commando Corn. Now, casuals love this character, but if you're going for a high kill game, this character's projectiles are very strange and very hard to get used to. Very unorthodox compared to the rest of the Corns. He does kind of shoot in a straight line, but he just plays very differently. Kind of similar to Landscaper, he's just harder to play than the rest of them. But he is very rewarding, because if you can play him properly, you are getting that meter, and when he has the meter, the character's broken. He's still very good without the meter, and I do think he's pretty underdeveloped through the meta, but I do think he is a difficult character to I don't mean in-game mastering like level, I mean like to hit all your shots with and play perfectly. Okay, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.